What these young bloods have to understand, that this game has always been and will always be about buckets.
No Draymond Green, major problem for the Golden State Warriors as the Cleveland Cavaliers take Game 5 on the Warriors' home court. The series is 3-2. It heads back to Cleveland on Thursday. Now, I want to clear the air first because I would like to see a nice, healthy debate in the comments section. Therefore, we have to throw out the cautious, the yellow flag if this were NASCAR racing and say, we are aware that some people have their feelings on Draymond's suspension, whether they were for or against it. If you're going to talk about the game as it was. Try to leave the Draymond not being there, what if, out of the situation. We can do a whole what if Draymond Green played Game 5 after the finals is over, but we have to wait and see. What do you
You're clutching at straws. This is you trying to get straws to hope for a healthy conversation.
I want a healthy conversation.
YouTube comment. No way.
I'm looking for the kale-friendly.
Not a lot of health. A kale-friendly conversation. No, that is an in-and-out mixed with a Carl's Jr. conversation about to go on.
Well, that sounds delicious to me.
Sounds delicious, but it might not be healthy.
All right, so what happened in Game 5? Well, there's nothing quite like a locked-in LeBron James, as I believe what one of the Reddit threads was saying. And, you know, look, I've been on the Curry, okay, I have to quote the comment section as the Curry dick riders and a LeBron dick rider. The truth of the matter is, I'm just quoting. The truth of the matter is that of all the players in the court, those who I have the biggest soft spots for is Kyrie Irving, considering we're from the same hometown in New Jersey. And technically J.R. Smith in a way, but J.R. Smith is not Kyrie Irving. He was hitting Kobe-esque jump shots. And here's the thing. Without Draymond Green, they lost their communication. That's what Steve Kerr was citing in the press conference. You could actually take a look at that right here.
I mean, it's too simple to say that. We weren't very good defensively. We obviously knew we were without Draymond, so there's no point in harping on that. We had to play better, and we didn't. Both those guys played terrific games, shot the ball well. I thought our defensive communication was lacking. We had some plays where we didn't pick up in transition, and we had some cross matches that we didn't identify, and they got free, and especially Kyrie, and made a lot of shots in transition where we just weren't there.
But without Draymond Green, they lost their defensive communication, and Bogut goes down, and from the looks of that replay, he ain't returning this series. There has not been an official report yet.
Was it, or his knee? It looked awful.
It looked like everything was torn.
It's there's nothing worse than seeing a 7-footer fall awkwardly on his knee.
And we're going to get to 7-footers falling fake awkwardly on their knees in Anderson Varejao very shortly. But Kyrie Irving and LeBron James did something that we haven't seen in NBA Finals history. They both put up 40-point games. Their combined total was short of, I think, just Elgin Baylor and Jerry West combined for the most in a Finals game, followed by Rick Barry. But then afterwards is LeBron and Kyrie. And LeBron also is the first person in NBA history to ever go 40-plus points, 15-plus rebounds, and 7-plus assists. It's not just the numbers aspect of it. It's the fact that he was chasing down blocks. Like, he was so zoned in, and I get it, and that's why I have to keep saying this, because people aren't going to listen, and they're just going to look at the title and comment anyway. Without Draymond, is there a conspiracy? Is it rigged? I don't care. It is what it is. Game 5 had to happen. They decided to suspend him. The final score resulted in LeBron and Kyrie dominating the Warriors.
And one team adjusted better than the other team. Of course, Draymond Green, as we talk about, second best player on that team, in terms of how they play collectively.
Undoubtedly now.
So this is a couple of points that were clear here, right? One, Yahoo Sports ran an article saying, genius decision from Tyronn Lue to swap LeBron James and have him run the point with Kyrie Irving being an open shooter off the ball. They've done that so many times this season. That's all they've been doing. Like, what NBA season have you been watching to run that article? And people are like, yeah, you're right. They played so well. And it's obvious. Kyrie Irving is undoubtedly an unbelievable scorer when you get him off the ball, and LeBron James controls that offense. So when he picks the ball in his hands, more often than not, he is the man that's going to dictate the play. Okay, next up. Kyrie Irving loved the mismatch and loved to try and get against Steph Curry, and when he did, it was obvious he was going to make those jump shots. Now, Golden State tried to adjust. There was plenty of times where Klay Thompson, when the switchover would happen, and they would try to switch over so that Steph Curry would have to switch off, Klay Thompson would say no. Towards the end, he stayed with them. And then something that Kyrie Irving did at the same time, whilst I had my split screen up of Jason Rubin tweeting out, easily the most accurate tweet of the night, is that it was very much Kobe-esque jump shots. what he was doing was so difficult. And this doesn't take an NBA analyst of Bill Simmons' stature to watch the game for 160 years to understand that if you have to adjust your movement and pivot 3 or 4 times before you find a difficult shot moving away from the bucket, fadeaway jumper, and still make it look so easy, you're on to something that night. So therefore, getting the rock in Kyrie's hands when he was in and around the paint and able to move, that's when you know that the game is going towards Cleveland.
That is exactly true. Klay Thompson is one of the best two-way guards in the NBA, and he was sticking with Kyrie every time he was matched up against him. But sometimes great defense gets trumped by better offense, and that's what Kyrie was doing. On LeBron James's end, yeah, whatever Yahoo Sports article that was, Kyrie's been the prolific scorer he is known to be ever since LeBron's been his usage percentage as the point guard for that team has gone way up. And Kevin Love does not deserve to get shredded for that game. In that game, everyone just points to the box score. They go, oh, Kevin Love, 2 points. Oh, Kevin Love, 2 points. He was useless. Actually, Kevin Love became that pickup guy who was not good enough on the basketball court but had to set off-ball screens.
Decoy.
You have to do the dirty work that nobody really wants to do to make the team better. He had some big defensive plays, and LeBron also ripped his heart out. When people thought he was going for a high five, he was showing them that he thought he was supposed to go straight up, and LeBron was saying go with the elbows more. And people were like, look, this is him getting a high five. So it was totally ripped out of context. I will not harp on Kevin Love for that game. He was actually instrumental in doing the things that nobody wants to do for a team. Yeah. To Klay Thompson really quick. Klay Thompson at 37 points. Do not be fooled by it. While Klay Thompson has pulled the Warriors off life support multiple times through this series, through the NBA Finals and last season, and his role as a sidekick is fantastic because he doesn't care about being the Steph Curry of the team. The important part is he had 37 points, but he had a negative 21 plus-minus on the court, which means he had the worst plus-minus of anybody on either side of the floor. So I'm not going to overreact to Klay Thompson having a great scoring game, but a bad, not necessarily a bad defensive game. But I think this just goes to prove that they absolutely do need Draymond Green to win games.
So that was my next point, and that came back to me. Is Harrison Barnes came in, and the small ball lineup was taken advantage of. And you have lanky Sean Livingston come in, and they still were somewhat efficient going forward, but it was when that switch happened, right? And Draymond Green would often fill, tactically here, as it's easy to see, is if he didn't have to pick up his man wider, he would come in and he would sit in the paint and offer that kind of second string that in football we call it pressure and cover. He's a cover.
Call help defense.
Yeah, call help defense. He's a cover in there, and it would allow for the likes of Klay Thompson to be able to stick with his man, but also have that assurance behind him that Draymond Green can cover. Harrison Barnes had to fill that role once Bogut went out. And at that point, it was all for Kyrie, because once he gets his back to the rim, he's one of the best at being able to move and be versatile and getting a shot away. And he had a few and ones in there because of that, because Harrison Barnes just wasn't big enough to be able to put his body out and block the shot.
They said if Harrison Barnes and Anderson Varejao had a game of horse, it would take 6 years to finish. Harrison Barnes, unfortunately, had a bad game. Harrison Barnes is trying to shoot his way out of a max contract, maybe so like he gets less money to stay with the Warriors? No, of course not. He just had a bad game, too. The game plan wasn't right for the Warriors, and I think a lot of that, again, it all comes back. It really does to the fact that with that small ball lineup without Draymond Green is just not that good of a lineup. He at the 5, I mean, the small ball lineup without Draymond Green, by the way, is 4 guards and a small forward. It's like you're playing tiny. I think Bogut going down isn't too much of a worry for the Warriors, just to wrap this up. Because even as Kerr was saying in the press conference again, they play a lot of guys at the 5. You know, I think Draymond coming back, have him run the small ball lineup for 40 minutes, see what happens. I mean, that could obviously work. The series is not over, but do not be surprised. I still will stick with it. The Warriors in 6. I got a little bit of help from the NBA to bail out my prediction.
Thanks a lot, Adam Silver, for screwing. You're lucky I didn't put money on it, or I would come to shine that head. Not with nice lubricant.
Nice lubricant. Yeah, I think like they'll be able to run multiple different players the 5 for next game, but Bogut to his knees. Varejao, I wish I had more time, but I don't. Absolutely pathetic. Unbearably pathetic. At least when Iggy flops, he sells it and plays great defense.
It's Brazilian,
in general.
man. You can't help it.
Varejao is, he's bad. Got hit in the ear twice. Comment below, Game 6, Thursday night. Does LeBron go Super Saiyan? Does Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green round out enough offense and defense hold the Cavs and ruin the Believe Land thing for a second straight season. Game 6, Thursday night at Princeton. Scrum Maxwell, Chase Newman 91 at TYT Sports.